The new Sith Wars were a turbulent time for the galaxy, especially the Republic Dark Age, the war's final century. During this dark time, the new Sith ran roughshod across much of the galaxy, while the Republic all but ceased to exist. These Sith were fractious and fought each other as much as they did the Republic and the Jedi, ruling over a scattering of petty states spread across the galaxy. There was perhaps no better representation of these new Sith than Odeon and Daemon, two absolutely insane Sith brothers who fought a constant war against each other. Odeon was a nihilist who sought to destroy all life, while Daemon was a narcissist who believed himself the creator of the universe. With the Republic a non-factor during the Dark Age, it fell to one rogue Jedi Knight to stop them, a maverick named Kerra Holt. In this video, we'll be telling the story of all three beings.
Attention, Sergeant on deck!
Our story is set in the Grumani sector of the Outer Rim, which by the midpoint of the Republic Dark Age was far from Republic space and bereft of holonet communications and publicly available hyperspace relays. During the Dark Age, much of the sector was conquered by the Sith Lord Chagras, who founded a petty state called the Chagras Hegemony. But when Chagras died in 1040 BBY, the hegemony fractured. Most of it was split between the sons of his sister, Zelian the Destroyer, two men named Daemon and Odeon, both of whom were also powerful Sith. Odeon was a nihilistic murderer, a man turned bitter by the favoritism his mother showed his younger brother. On top of this, his ability to sense others through the Force was extraordinarily strong, making him, as he put it, hypersensitive to the existence of others. This was apparently quite painful, and the only way Odeon found relief was by, as he put it, snuffing out the bright lights in his mind, one by one. Between his pain and his bitterness, he became determined to kill, literally, everyone. To this end, he seized control of part of the Chagras hegemony and turned it into a vast war machine, using a force of Sith acolytes called novitiates to command vast armies, in which ranks weren't really a thing and the only aim was death. His petty state was called the Odeonate, and it was basically just a military machine that made war for the sake of destruction. Odeon paid no heed to the needs of his people, since he wanted them all to die eventually anyway, leading to high mortality rates across the Odeonate. Odeon's main rival was his younger brother, Daemon, who was even more crazy. Now, we could try to explain how Daemon thought to you, but his own words convey how insane he was better than we ever could, so we'll let him speak for himself. I was bored, and so I created the universe. I have no direct knowledge of the time before time, but I infer that wherever I was, nothing could challenge me. And so I created a new existence. All matter, all energy are manifestations of my undying spirit. But while I gave all beings motion, not all beings serve me. For I also created an opponent in Odeon. He claims he is my older brother, but I, of course, have no kin or kind. He is simply what I must overcome to advance. Another quote of his put it even more succinctly. I am Lord Daemon. There are no other living beings. Definitely a cool and normal thing to say. As you can surely tell, Daemon was the final boss of narcissists, and his petty state, creatively called the Daemonate, reflected that. While the Odeonate was just slavery and chaos, the Daemonate was slavery and fanatical totalitarianism. The people of the region were indoctrinated into believing that Daemon had created the universe 25 years before, and that any memories they had before then were implanted by him as world building. Daemon's subjects were called the Encumbered, and they were treated like slaves, as Daemon deemed that their only purpose was to serve and entertain him. Like the Odeonate, The Daemonate was constantly fighting a war of expansion, as Daemon believed that the entire galaxy needed to be blessed by his rule. Between them, Daemon and Odeon tore the Grumani sector apart and brutalized its people, treating them even worse than the Sith of the Chagras hegemony had. But in this, they inadvertently created their greatest enemy. Shortly before the death of Chagras, back when he and his brother were still generals of the hegemony, Odeon had conquered the planet Aquilaris and had massacred most of the planet's population, enslaving the few who survived. But one being escaped the bloodbath, a young girl named Kerra Holt, who had been rescued by Jedi Master Vanar Treese. Kerra was found to be strong in the Force, and Master Treese trained her to be a Jedi. She quickly became one of his most promising students, always pushing herself in a bid to become a living weapon, capable of stopping the Sith that had killed her family. In 1032 BBY, Kerra Holt became a Jedi Knight, and she and her master joined a team of Jedi sent to undermine Sith control of the Grumani sector. But their mission went sideways on Chiloa, where Master Treese and most of the Jedi were killed by Odeon. But Kerra survived, and she managed to link up with former Jedi Knight Gorlan Paladane, the leader of a local resistance movement. They went up against both Daemon and Odeon, who were fighting over Chiloa's Baradian mines, and managed to outwit them both. Daemon had planned to lure Odeon into a trap and then blow up Chiloa's surface, as the planet's Baradium was a powerful natural explosive. This would wipe out the planet's entire population, which Daemon saw as punishment for the ungratefulness of the Chiloans fighting back against his rule of the planet. Daemon attempted to use Kerra and Paladane as bait for Odeon, so that he could take out all his enemies in one fell swoop, and at first, it appeared as if the two heroes had fallen for it. But Kerra had figured out Daemon's plan, and she and Paladane were only playing along while they secretly organized an evacuation of the planet. After luring Odeon to the planet and wounding him in a duel, Kerra led a fleet of 60,000 civilians off Chiloan shortly before Daemon lit the planet up. Paladane died in the mission, but he died content, knowing he had helped his people escape certain death. Kerra Holt, meanwhile, sent a message to both Daemon and Odeon. There was a new knight in town. Kerra had outmaneuvered and humiliated both Sith Lords. Odeon sought vengeance for his defeat in their duel, while Daemon was forced to confront the fact that he was not as omnipotent as he had come to believe. And this was only the beginning of what would become a long-running nightmare for the Sith brothers. Cut off from the Jedi and the Republic, Kerra Holt set out on her own, running around the Grumani sector and battling Sith left and right, as well as a Hutt crime lord or two. She quickly discovered that Daemon and Odeon weren't the only Sith in town. They were just the strongest of a whole family of Sith Lords, all competing for the favor of their grandmother, the Sith matriarch, Vilya Calamondra. Kerra made it her mission to help the ordinary people crushed under the various Sith dictatorships, often saving thousands of people or even entire planets at a time. She was a veritable crusader for the common people of the galaxy, helping them free themselves from the self-engrossed Sith destroying their lives. After the failure of the initial mission on Chiloa, both the Republic and the Jedi stayed out of the Grumani sector until the Alderaanian Grace Command launched Operation Deluge, a mission to sabotage the war efforts of the belligerent Sith states. They did this by spiking the sector's food supplies with a powerful, addictive spice called Deluge, figuring that the armies of the Sith would probably be weakened at least a little if the entire population was high out of their minds. Of course, this plan would also destroy billions of lives, so Kerra Holt fought to stop it, deeming it too high of a price even for the defeat of Daemon and Odeon. She managed to win over Jen Devad, the Republic captain leading the mission, and together the two women sabotaged Operation Deluge and helped clear out the spice that had already made it into the sector. Devad then began running covert refugee rescue missions throughout the sector, rescuing countless people from Sith rule. After Operation Deluge, Kerra embarked on a new mission to stop the local Sith, hoping to finally bring down Daemon and Odeon. She decided to divide and conquer, first allying with Daemon against Odeon. To this end, she saved Daemon from certain defeat in the Battle of Darknell and talked him into helping her infiltrate the Novitiate, Odeon's Sith disciples. Within the Novitiate, Kerra discovered that Odeon was searching for the Helm of the Elders, a powerful artifact that could drive sentience into a homicidal rage en masse. Kerra was able to find the helm first on Scarpos, but she was discovered and captured by Odeon, who took the artifact for himself. By tapping into the pain and suffering of the thousands of orphan child slaves held captive in his prisons, Odeon planned to use the helm against the whole Grumani sector. But Kerra managed to escape captivity, and she set out to stop him. She revealed Odeon's plan to his second-in-command, General Yulan, winning him over in the process. Meanwhile, Daemon and the other Sith learned of Odeon's plan and set out to stop him. All of them came together on Vanaheim, the site of Odeon's child prisons, where a great battle began. Using the power of the helm, Odeon was able to turn his Sith rivals against one another, sparking a massive all-out battle between their forces. But before he could unleash the weapon's power against the whole sector, Kerra and General Yulan freed the children from their torment and began ferrying them to safety. And since the helm was drawing on their emotions, this caused a surge of positive emotion that overloaded and destroyed the artifact, killing Odeon in the process. In the Battle of Vanaheim, the Odeonate was decapitated, and its remnants were soon carved up by Daemon and the other Sith. But their infighting on Vanaheim had greatly weakened all of the Sith forces in the region, giving the people of the sector a chance to fight back. As General Yulan led the formerly imprisoned children back to Republic space, Kerra Holt vowed to help the Grumani sector drive the Sith out once and for all. And that's where the story was at when Disney acquired Lucasfilm, and the comic series this story comes from was cancelled. However, being the badass that she was, Kerra Holt presumably defeated Daemon in the end as well, single-handedly crushing his whole army before beating him senseless with his own cape. That's our headcanon, anyway. Even with that somewhat unsatisfying ending, we highly recommend checking out the Knight Errant comics. This was just a bare-bones summary of the plot, and there's so much more to Kerra Holt's adventures that we couldn't fit in this video. But what do you think? Do you want to see more Knight Errant content in the future? Feel free to post your thoughts in the comment section below.